Good evening, everyone. Good day, everyone. We'll just open up today's webinar. I'm delighted to be here today. Good day. I'm happy to see everyone back today. And today's our first webinar this year, so it's really exciting. And, welcome back to today's webinar. So today we have a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about strengthening organizational performance in today's business environment. I am delighted to be your host for today's program, and it's going to be a very interesting one and a very insightful one. And we have a lot of knowledge sharing today. Well, before we get into today's topic, I would just want to talk to everyone briefly about Brickhills Consulting, who we are and what we do. So, Brickhills Consulting, we are all about empowering individuals, organizations, and businesses. We elevate individuals and organizations through their skill, through trainings, and we have our British accredited training programs, whether you're looking to upskill in either finance, IT, business management, data analysis, project management, engineering. We are flexible. We offer high training programs, and we are flexible. We have 3 modes of learning. Is either the virtual learning where you have your instructor, or the self-paced learning, or the in-person learning. We also have 3 categories of learning, which is the beginners category and the middle level, and which is the intermediate level. And we also have the advanced learning, which is the master class level. So we are flexible, it's affordable, and all the details are on our website on www.brickhillsconsulting.com. So without further ado, let's just, introduce our speaker for today. So our speaker for today, he's going to be taking us on strengthening organizational performance in today's business environment. Let's meet Ayodele Jr. He is a seasoned HR professional with experience spanning the oil and gas, facility management, HR consulting, and legal sector. A graduate of economics, he is an accomplished HR generalist with expertise in recruitment, learning and development, performance management, culture transformation, and process improvement. As the HR manager for a full-service law firm in Lagos, Nigeria, Ayodele is dedicated to driving strategic HR initiatives that enhance organizational efficiency and employee engagement. His strength in talent management and operational excellence positions him as a key contributor to business growth and work development. So, without further ado, we would be calling on Ayodele to take us into today's discussions. And don't forget to jot your questions, because he would be happy to treat your questions. And, let's just try and take notes. He's really, really insightful, and he knows a lot about, all of this. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Ayodele.
Thank you very much, Izzy. Please, can you confirm that everyone can hear me, please? Okay. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Ayodele. I know some of you might be wondering why I have Ayodele Jr. At an earlier engagement, when the compare was to introduce me, he said he's so good they named him twice. I don't know if the guy was in my family house when that happened. And that's basically because I decided to go with my father's first name as against going with the family name. Don't bother asking me why I chose that. It's a discussion for another day. But yes, so my father's first name is Ayodele, so I opted to answer my father's first name rather than the family name. So yes, good evening once again. My name is Ayodele, and for the purpose of this training, you can call me Ayo. I'm the HRI manager for Stream Source and Co, which is a full-service law firm here in Lagos State. Without taking too much of our time, we'll just get right into the topic of the day. Please confirm that you can see my screen. Isn't it? Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Very clear.
Good. So we're talking about strengthening organizational performance in today's business environment. Of course, you would agree with me that today's business environment is different from even 5 years ago. Yes, I mean, post-COVID has really sort of shook the business environment, and people have had to think outside the box. Employers have had to get creative. Employees have had to, even be more creative in order to, keep their jobs and support their companies towards achieving their goal. And then 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and then last year coming into this year, there's been AI and a lot of technological influx, which is somewhat, making the workplace a bit fast-paced. So you would agree that today organizations operate in an environment that is constantly changing. Like the pace with which changes are being made is constant. It's not as redundant, as slow, or as lethargic as it used to be in the past. Even as civil service, I'm talking about the federal civil service in the country, they are embracing this sudden change that has come as a result of several factors. And this session is for us to, see how organizations can intentionally strengthen their performance by aligning their people to the leadership, their systems, and above all, the overall goal of the organization. Because at the end of it all, if the people and the leadership and the systems and the processes and what have you in the organization does not align with the overall goal of the organization for that year or for the period you're looking at, then there is a mismatch somewhere. So it's how about we're here to see how organizations can, find a way to get all these to run in one direction. Your people, your leaders, your processes, all of them running in one direction, which is achieving the overall goal of the organization or firm or company, whichever word that you are used to. I'm used to saying firm because I work in a law firm. So we'll be looking at the reality of today's business environment, the things that organizations are navigating. The first is economic uncertainty and cost pressure. If you're a business owner here, do we have any business owners here? Can you just give a thumbs up? Is there anyone that's an entrepreneur here, or we are all 9 to 5s? Okay, I want to believe that. Isn't it? I would expect that you would give a thumbs up because you are a business owner. So for business owners, the economic uncertainty it's crazy to it's just so uncertain. Today the prices of things are okay. We have another business owner here, Bright. Well done to you, Bright. Thumbs up to you too. The truth is, the economy is so uncertain. Today, something is 10,000 naira. In less than 3 hours, you are calling the market again and they're telling you it's 12,000 naira. Prices are uncertain. And the truth is, operational costs keeps increasing day after day after day. And with this uncertainty, the pressure on the overall cost of the companies keeps increasing. I mean, every business owner out there is just, a lot of businesses are struggling to stay afloat. And how are organizations able to navigate this constant uncertainty and cost pressures? We will see that as we progress through the class. How are you able to align your people's performance to ensure that everyone is aligned, the company is able to cut costs in ways that they can, things that you would rather pay people to do? Can you get technology that is cheaper to do it? Can you do things in quicker time rather than spending so much time? Ways that you can find a way to ensure that you keep running smoothly as a business while cutting down your costs. Another thing, of course, that organizations are dealing with today is rapid technological advancement. A lot of things are going digital. We are moving away from the manual ways of doing things. I'll give you an example from an HR perspective. The rapid rate at which payroll softwares are coming up every nook and cranny you look. There are different payroll softwares out there, which is away from the traditional Microsoft Excel that a lot of HR professionals are used to. So it's the reality of today. How are you positioning yourself as an individual? Then there is AI. That's the one everybody wants to talk about, AI. And there's a lot of talk around, oh, AI is coming to take people's jobs. And I always say this, AI will only take the jobs of those who do not know how to use or who do not know how to apply AI to their job. AI is not going to take your job if you know how to apply AI to your job. Because the truth is, what is AI really? AI is useless without human input. Whatever responses, whatever answers that AI is giving to you, they got it from somewhere. AI did not just generate those answers. Whatever responses that Claude, that ChatGPT, Copilot, name it, whatever responses they are giving to you, they were answers created by humans. They were answers created by humans, put in there by humans also. So it is those of you who are able to apply AI to your job that will retain your job. For those who are unable to apply AI, well, truth be told, you might struggle in terms of coping with the work of now. Then shifting workforce expectations. Of course, the expectations of different workforce is changing. Now we're looking at the generation, the Gen Z generation, and then there's a generation coming after them. I think they call them the Gen Alpha. We are not done with Gen Z people. We are still complaining about their boldness that is, or rather their stubbornness and rude nature that is masked in boldness and outspokenness. We're talking about their attitude to work. I mean, yes, it's the Sorosuke generation. People are saying speak up. I love when young people speak up to some of the things that we couldn't speak up to. But then again, there's a level and there's the level to which you must carry these things. There's how much you can speak up, and there's some things that you just don't do. Now, the workforce is constantly changing from the millennials to the Gen Zs, and now we're dealing with Gen Alphas. You're seeing that a workforce has different generations of people who are thinking in different styles. So how are you as an HR professional, how are you as an organization able to marry these different generations into your business and ensure that it runs smoothly? You would agree with me that the average millennial is used to some certain things in the office. The average millennial would not have an issue working extra hours. We're probably used to it. The average millennial would not have an issue with his boss calling him on the weekends. We are probably used to it. That doesn't mean that it is right. But the Gen Zs of today, they would not have it. They would not have it. You're calling a Gen Z at close of business, and it's probably not even taking the call. And when you are reaching out to them, the next day they're telling you, oh, it's close of business. So these are some of the realities that are happening in today's business. The shifting workforce expectations, the things that we now expect people to do are not the things that we expect them to do 5, 6 years ago. Another change we're looking about is job roles. Job roles are metamorphosing into different things. For instance, HR has left an operational phase. HR is now a strategic position in any organization. It is no longer just recruitment and documentation and all that. HR is now a strategic position in any organization. HR managers, HR directors, CHROs now sit on the decision-making table, and organizations cannot make certain decisions without consulting them. I'm in that position right now where my partners want to make some certain decisions, and they're like, HR, what's your recommendation on this? That is the impact that the HR profession is getting into. Same as the accounting profession. The accounting profession has left the whole account payable and receivables, issue invoices, issue receipt, and all those stuff. The accounting profession is now very strategic. They are doing budget analysis, they are doing budget forecasting, they are sitting the company down to say, okay, for 5 years, this is how much we think we can generate in revenue, this is how much we think we can spend, this is, different strategic positions, and then there are different roles coming up in different organizations. For instance, there's a huge influx of virtual assistants popping up everywhere, where CEOs don't necessarily need to hire an EA who is inside the office with them. They have a virtual assistant that manages their calendar. So, the change is rapid. We are used to going to the office and seeing the Oga's secretary. Now, the Oga secretary is not in the office. The Oga secretary is somebody you have to call over the phone to say, oh, I need to speak to your boss for an hour. So they are seeing this messaging you. this time and this time is not available. You know, these are some of the changes that we are having to deal with in today's business. Am I being followed, please, or am I too fast?
You're being followed. It's okay.
All right, thank you very much. So I just wanted to be sure that people can follow me with the class. Now, another thing we're looking at is increased competition and globalization. I'm sorry, I don't know the nomenclature of the class. I don't know if it's HR dominated or we have more of people that are non-HR, but I would like to tilt my example sometimes towards the HR industry. And isn't it, you would agree with me here, the number of HR consulting companies we had pre-COVID and the number we have post-COVID, I'm sure you can tell how much the competition has increased, correct?
Yeah, very correct.
Everybody now is an HR consultant. Even those that are working their 9 to 5, they still have their side hustles where they are doing recruitment for this company, they are consulting for this company, they are training for this company. Now, isn't it before her business might be able to charge a client 40% of whatever is coming? Now she has to find a way to adjust her pricing because there's one HR guy or one HR lady in one corner that will charge as low as 5%. Now, the question Ezinne would have to answer is, what extra am I giving that is worth the 40% that I am charging? That is how much increased competition that we have right now. You know, the funny thing, most of these companies don't even have an office space. So they are virtually virtual companies. You see people just sit somewhere and call themselves the HRXYZ, and companies are reaching out to them. And guess what? They are actually providing the service. They're providing the service. A company needs to recruit somebody, and this person picks up the recruitment fee, and it does it for 5% of the talent's annual gross. Whereas Brickhills is charging 15%. Ordinarily, anybody that goes there would want to go with that person. But that just goes to show that there is increased competition in every market, and it's not just HR consulting. I work in the legal space. I know how many smaller law firms are springing up by the day. And with smaller organizations coming up in the industry, what happens? They usually come in with the price reduction tactics. Who remember the issue with Air Peace and the British Airways and all the airlines that usually fly to London? When Air Peace wanted to come in and started flying to London, what did they do? They brought down the ticket prices. That's what they did. They brought down the ticket prices, and that's why they were able to attract customers. So when smaller organizations pop up, first thing that they attack is the pricing. And then you, as a bigger organization, you have to find a way to justify to your clients, your already existing clients, or new clients you're trying to convince. So you're seeing the many issues that business owners are trying to deal with in the reality of today. You're trying to convince a client that you already have why you should continue with you when there's somebody that will do it for less. Or you're trying to convince another client why they should join you when there's somebody that will do the same service for less. That means if Mr. A is giving 100% for 100 naira, it's either you are giving that 100% for the same 100 naira or less, or you are giving 110% for 100 naira. There has to be something that should distinguish you from the other. And that's where we are getting to. How do you ensure that your people are turning out performances which ultimately cascades into the firm or the organization's performance in terms of pleasing your clients or selling your product that will make people come back to you irrespective of the price that you choose. Now, I just want to look at the names of the people we have in the class, and I want to just ask someone a question. Give me a minute. Mr. Denny, are you here with me? Good evening. Is Mr. Denny here? If he isn't, is Busayo Grace here on the call?
Yes, good evening.
Okay. Hi, Busayo Grace, good evening. So I want to ask you a question. Do you have a product or a service that over time you've seen cheaper alternatives, but you have stuck to that product or service?
Yes.
Good. Can you tell us why you have stuck to them?
It depends on the quality I'm getting from them, and I know I can't get from the cheaper ones. So I just have to stick to the ones I know before the
Thank you.
good
Thank you.
one.
Thank you very much. You have said it all. The quality of service you are getting differs. Give me a minute, please. So that's exactly what we're saying. Irrespective of the fact that there's increased competition, some businesses are still, surviving and getting their customer because they are giving more. And how are they giving more? They've been able to align their businesses, align their people, align their leadership and their processes to ensuring that their business provides more to their customers. Demand for speed, efficiency, and measurable outcomes. Of course, with more competition out there, customers are always demanding for more. Customers want more services. Customers want more after sales services. They want more value for the money. So, how are you as a business coping with this demand for speed? The work environment these days has become fast paced, like fast paced. As an individual, you're discovering that you're doing so many things at the same time. The organization is doing so many things at the same time. You have so many clients to please at the same time. For a service based organization, if you're the type that works in consulting or professional services, you understand that the clients are demanding for several things at the same time, and you have to deliver. You can't but not deliver. So, how are organizations navigating these several issues in today's environment? And just like it's written on the slide, average performance is no longer enough. It is not enough for you to be average, because what will happen is someone who is excellent will take over your clients. Even I would not want to deal with somebody who is average again. I would want to deal with somebody who is excellent. Organizations must become resilient, agile, and execution focused. Let me add, they must be result driven and client focused also. They have to drive results, they have to place their clients, they have to ensure that they are resilient, they are agile, they are flexible. Flexibility in all fronts. The client is asking for something, you are used to doing it XYZ way, but the client wants it in ABC way. Are you flexible enough to say, okay, let's meet at the middle? I'll give you this while you give me that. The workforce is ever getting flexible. A lot of people are demanding for remote jobs. Are you still adamant and saying, no, it has to be Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, everybody must be in the office or no work? No, you will lose quality talent because people would rather opt for the other offices that are giving them remote work and those other benefits that you are currently not offering. What organization performance really means? What does organization performance really means? I like this. I like the fact that this slide has already answered the first question. It goes beyond financial results. When we think organization performance, everybody thinks, oh, it's just for the company to make money. That is the ultimate goal. Every business, irrespective of whatever sweet adjectives or whatever that the business used to wrap their goal, the aim is still to make money. But organization's performance also reflects in the organization's ability to constantly achieve strategic objectives. So, aside wanting to make money, each business has set up some strategic objectives that they want to achieve during the course of the year, which is away from making money. There are CSRO objectives, there are different partnerships that they want to achieve. Organizations have moved beyond just Naira and Kobo now. Partnerships are coming in there, subscriptions are coming in there for organizations, CSROs are coming in there. Organizations are putting themselves forward. They are spending money doing different programs and conferences and networking initiatives that are putting them in the face of customer. Ultimately, these things still circle back to one thing: profit and loss, money. But however, if the organizations do not achieve these objectives, then of course, they do not get the money that they want from it. Translate strategy into execution. I know this buzzword, strategic, is a buzzword now, particularly in the HR space. If you're an HR professional, you would agree with me. And everybody seems to want to use the word. But how do you translate that strategy into execution? Because when it is not executed, strategy, it's just what? Paper, you've written it down. How do you translate that strategy into execution? How do you ensure that that strategy moves beyond what you have written down and is happening in your people, in your process, and in the results that you see in from your people and the work that they deliver? Organizations have now gone beyond financial results, and they've gone to optimizing people, processes, and resources, ensuring that their staff are constantly trained to unlearn and relearn in the ever-changing work environment, ensuring that processes are constantly reviewed to meet up with best practices out there. So you are an organization that usually your recruitment process is 6 stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, stage 6 before the candidate gets in. And then you discover that your competitors have only 3 stages. And when people apply to you, they are wondering, why do I have to go through 6 stages when I can go through 3 stages? Now, over time, what will happen to your business, and please, I'm just giving examples that we can easily understand. What will happen to your business over time is you will lose the quality candidates to other persons, because if I have to go through 6 stages to get to you, and there are 3 stages to get to something the same or even better, I would opt for the 3 stages. One example I can give you is CIPM. One example I can give you is CIPM. Why I personally do not have my CIPM today, it was, back then, CIPM had this thing where I had to start from, I think, intermediate 2, and then I would do professional 1, and then professional 2. And these 3 exams could not be written the same year. So if I started this 2026, I would not finish till, 2027. And I said to myself, why will I stress myself doing that when I can do SPHRi, and I will do it that same year, and I'll get my certification that same year. However, what has CIPM done now? They've improved their process. I think they write exams every quarter, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's a diet every quarter. So that means right now, if I start from my intermediate 2 in Q2, I will finish the same year and get my certification. Process optimization. Looking at the whole thing and saying that, oh, this process is no longer working. It's no longer as efficient as it used to be. We need to change. Adapting to change without losing momentum. It still keys into what I said earlier. What's happening in the world of now? What is changing in the world of now? Okay, a lot of young talents are opting for work from home. Who and who can work from home in our company? Who and who cannot work from home? Believe me, not every staff can work from home, or not every role can work from home. For instance, if you have only one front desk officer, the front desk staff cannot work from home because the person has to welcome visitors. Your office assistants who do the cleaning and all that, if it's not outsourced, they cannot work from home. What do you do? For those that can work from home, you try to make it work for them. You're adapting to that change. For those that cannot work from home, you find alternatives, maybe a compensation in monetary terms, or say, okay, a 1 day off completely in the month, or whatever. But you just find a way to adapt to the changes around your environment without losing momentum, without losing customers, without affecting your business process, and ultimately the results that you give to your customers, and sustain results over time. Organization's performance has gone beyond financial results. It has gone into the organization's ability to sustain results over time. It's not enough for you to do it once. How are you able to sustain these results over time? When you want to go into some certain level of partnerships, you would see that people would ask, oh, as part of the document they want to see from you, they're asking you for last 3, last 4, last 5 audited financial reports. What do you really think they're looking at? How well has your organization performed in the last 5 years? Has it been consistent? Or is this 1 year of high revenue, is it a fluke? So imagine an organization that in 2020, they made 3 million. In 2021, they made 3.2 million. In 2022, they made 3.2 million. In 2023, they made 3.3 million. In 2024, let's say they made 4 million. And in 2025, they made 60 million. Now, as someone who wants to go into partnership with that organization, you are saying to yourself, these guys have made 60 million, I should. But when you pick up their financial report over the last 5 years and you look at it, you're asking yourself, what happened? Are they able to sustain these results over time? So organizations have gone beyond just making the money. They are putting processes and people in place that ensures that whatever advantage that they get in the market, in their industry, whatever advantage they get over their competitors, they can sustain it over time. Okay? And this is because true, genuine performance is not just systematic. Oh, sorry, is systematic and not accidental. A true performance is systematic. It is something that you build. It is something that is carefully crafted. It is something that you tailor to suit your organizational purpose. You do not just fall into it. It's not by accident. Yes, there are exceptions of people who, perchance, something just tried something and then it worked. But even that thing you tried, it was thought of. You thought about it before you tried it. So true performance is systemic. It's not something that just falls on your leg. There are deliberate actions, there are deliberate actions, there are deliberate learnings, there are deliberate activities that goes into true performance for an individual and for an organization. Now, why are many organizations struggling with performance? Despite having strong strategies, strong people, they have the money, they have everything, but they are still struggling with performance. Why? The first thing is the strategy and execution gaps. I said in the previous slide that it is not enough to have the strategy on paper, you have to execute it. A lot of organizations are still struggling from taking strategy from blue and white or black and white, as the case may be, to proper execution. They are still struggling in doing that. That's one of the reasons why organizations are still struggling with performance. Another reason why they're struggling with performance is weak leadership accountability. Our leaders in most of these organizations have refused to change. And even in that, they have refused to be accountable for their actions. There's nothing as bad as self-deceit. It's nothing as bad as self-deceit when you know that you are the problem, but you have refused to acknowledge and accept the fact that you are the problem. The moment you acknowledge and accept the fact that you're the problem, that's the first process to positive change, because you are going to now say, okay, now that I know that I'm the problem, I need to improve, and what do I need to do to improve? So weak leadership, leaders who cannot take the daring decision to make changes, leaders who have refused to adapt to the work of now, adapt themselves and be receptive to the work of now and make necessary changes in their organizations. These organizations will struggle with performance and they'll be left behind. Underutilized talent, putting a round peg in a square hole. So you have a talent, a trailblazer, somebody who's guns blazing, and you just leave him in one corner of the office with one minute role to handle. That's a problem. When I joined my current organization, I joined in a time where it's usually not advisable to join any organization, which is Q4. I resumed in November. And of course, there was the end of year activities, recognition, retreat, end of year party, and so many things that needed to be done at the end of the year. And that's when I resumed. And my boss took one good look at me. I think we had a session for less than 10 minutes. And she said, okay, they'll show you to your office and all that. Just had a conversation for 10 minutes. And while I was sitting on my desk in my office, still trying to adapt, I just saw a series of emails bombing in. Boom, 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 boom. Tasks that I needed to complete. And I'm like, people should calm down now. I literally just resumed. It was chaotic at first because I had to do a lot of things. And I was coming from HR consulting to the legal space. And I'll tell you something about working in a law firm. Trust me, it is completely different to what you do in any other space. Managing HR in a law firm is a completely different ballgame entirely. So when this whole thing came out, I was wondering, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Eventually, I sought help, spoke to mentors, spoke to my new colleagues, spoke to my predecessor. I found a way around it, got the task going. When I had the conversation with her again as to why did you just throw me in the deep, she said, during your interview, I already saw that where you were being underutilized. You had the capacity to do A, B, C, D, E, F, but you were being used for only A and B. So when you came in, I needed to convince myself that I was not wrong. So I threw you in. It wasn't that if you had not done well, I would have fired you. I probably would have said, oh, maybe I overrated this guy. But I saw that you had the ability to do more, and I gave you more to do. So in your office, in your workforce, you need to be able to look at your staff and say, can this person do more than they are currently doing? Not everybody can do more, I must admit. Not every one of us can do more. Some certain persons can do more than you are giving to them. Some can only do what you are giving to them. But you must be able to utilize your talent to the best of their abilities. You must be able to find a way to get them busy, to get them creative, to get them engaged. Employee engagement is not TGIF, it's not pizza and soft drink on Fridays. Employee engagement is how much work are you giving to your people. They come to the office every day and there's something meaningful and creative for them to do, or they come to the office every day and they have to do your routine, mundane tasks. So underutilization of talent is one of the reasons why plenty employers or organizations are still struggling with performance. Inefficient processes, very, very important. Inefficient processes. I was speaking with a younger HR person one time, and I said he was complaining about performance management and all. And I said, what performance management system do you use? What's your process like? And he couldn't come up with something. It means that there's something wrong already if you do not even know the process you use. So when you look at your business and say, what processes do we employ right now? How are we measuring performance? How are we tracking it? How are we rewarding people? How are we handling underperformance? There has to be a process to each and every of these items. How are you setting goals? How are you tracking the goals? How are you measuring the goals that you are tracking? Okay, now for those that are performing, how are you rewarding them? For those that are not performing, how are you helping them to get to the level where they need to get to? Remember, I have not mentioned firing anybody yet, because that's like the last resort. You need to understand that there are several factors that could mean that somebody may be underperforming. Sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's skill related. But it's your job as a manager, as a business owner, as an HR professional, be able to sit down and try to help that person to get to where they should be. It is after you've tried to help them get to where they should be and they are still not moving well. Business is not charity. People have to do. So how efficient is your process? How efficient is your production line, your production process? How efficient is your marketing process? How efficient is your administrative process? A simple thing as filing arrangement could make or mar a business. Simple thing as filing arrangement. As simple as it is, administrative work, just having files arranged alphabetically or numerically could make or mar a business. So how are you ensuring that your processes, your internal processes are efficient enough for your business to thrive? Poor performance measurement systems. Again, we cannot overemphasize this as human resource professionals. Poor performance measurement systems. You set KPIs, you set goals, and they are not smart. They are not smart, they are not specific, they are not measurable, they are not realistic, they are not time-bound, they are not achievable, and you just leave the goals for people to go and run. So the sales manager comes in and you tell him his goal for the year is to increase revenue. That's vague. Increase revenue by what? At what time? What was the previous revenue? So you're saying I need him to increase revenue by 40%. You have been specific. 40%, is it at end of Q1, at mid-year, at end of the year? I need you to increase revenue by 40% at the end of the year. Now you are specific and you have made it time bound. Now you're asking yourself, is it reliable? You're looking at the business that you do. Is it reliable that revenue can increase by 40%? You've checked data, you've looked around your own reports in the last 6 years, the highest revenue growth you've had has been 6%. And you've looked at other competitors, nobody has really had that high influx of revenue, even the big players. Now, you're asking yourself, is it realistic to set a 30% target? Is it achievable? Not every target is realistic and achievable, as much as we want to, shoot into the sky and aim high. But we have to set targets that are realistic, that are achievable. You want a one-man sales team. A one-man sales team, only him is doing business development, only him is doing sales, only him is doing marketing, and you're giving him a revenue target of 5 billion naira. Please, how many people are able to drive a 5 million naira business into an organization? It's not achievable. I'm sorry, especially depending on the kind of business you do. If your business is not a high revenue driving business like the oil and gas, for instance, consulting, for instance, now, as much as Brickhills will grow and become one of the biggest in the country, I'm sure right now, even Disney will not give herself a 5 billion naira target for 2026 because it's not realistic. Let's be honest. So these are things you look at when you are setting goals. Now, how are you measuring the goals? What are the metrics with which you are using to measure the goals? How often are you measuring the goals? Do you just set goals and leave it? And then one day you just wake up and say, oh, these goals are not being met. No. How often are you measuring the goals? Are you doing it monthly? Are you doing it quarterly? Are you doing it biannually? Are you doing it annually? Okay. You're looking at your performance measurement or performance management system. Another thing that we tend to overlook sometimes is for those that are high performing, how are we rewarding them for their performance? Okay. It is one thing to have somebody perform. If you're not rewarding them, trust me, they will just lose interest and you just see performance dip over time, or they leave your organization and leave you with the poor performance, and then you continue to churn out poor performances. Low engagement and high attrition. It still boils down to some certain things I have said. Underutilized talent, for instance, thank God is directly under it. How are you engaging your employees? Do you leave them to the mundane and basic task, or you are engaging them in things that gets them to think, gets them to be creative, gets them to be analytical? Okay, these are the things that the workforce of now enjoy. If you leave them with our basic mundane tasks, they get bored and they will leave. And your attrition rate will just keep on going high and high, because people will come, look at you, there's nothing creative, there's nothing useful they want to do yet, they will leave. So you need to change to the work of now. What are the technological tools that are available in the work of now that you are not using? Okay, you need to move on from the old school way of doing things to the new age of doing things, so that you keep your employees engaged, keep them creative, keep them active, and that will reduce your attrition rate. These challenges are rarely isolated, and that's the truth. Mostly, you have a combination of 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them in an organization. They are interconnected and they compound over time. Yes, it starts from once you have a poor strategy execution and your leadership is weak. That already translates to you underutilizing your talent. And then once you underutilize your talent, you have low engagement and high attrition. It comes down to inefficient processes. Once your process is not efficient, it means your performance measurement system will be poor. And what that means is that your overall performance of the organization will be poor. So you see how these systems can be interconnected, can be interwoven. That's talking about the problems that organizations struggle with, or the organizations face when it comes to struggling with performance management. Now, the human capital factor, the human factor, the H in human resources. Every business cannot survive without a human being. Whether you have a physical office, whether you have a virtual office, whatever it is, there's still a bit of human input in your business. And that's why we say people remain the most critical driver or drivers of organizational performance. High organizations invest intentionally in leadership capability, skills development, role clarity, and accountability. So it is important that you hire the right people for leadership position, because a leader can make or break a team. If the leader is one that easily gives up, trust me, any simple challenge the guy has given up, that is going to transcend to every member of the team, and you have a team that is weak, with a weak mentality. But when a leader is one that says, okay, there's a problem, we're not thinking of the problem, we're thinking of solution, that energy, that spirit cascades to team members. And you see team members that when there's a problem, they're not even bothered about the problem, or they're thinking of the solution, how to solve the problem. Organizations invest intentionally in skills development, training. You cannot overtrain an employee. I know we try to cut costs, we try to work budget and all that, but it is important that you train your employees. If you cannot pay for external trainings, you can do internal trainings. Look at the senior managers in your organization. Give them training topics on small soft skills, communication, composure, even dressing. You can lose a business from dressing. Small soft skills, and you just get to see as little as these things that you do not take account, they are the ones that start making a difference. I work in the legal space, where you see lawyers and you're like, that's a 10 plus lawyer, that's a Bar 1 Igudalo lawyer, that's an SSK lawyer. We see them and we know them. That's because they've packaged themselves. You think that packaging is not part of the skill? It is a skill. Packaging is a skill. How do you carry yourself? How do you dress? How do you speak? How's your composure like when you are out there with clients? Role clarity and accountability. When you are creating a role, do not create a role that the functions of that role is crisscrossing or jamming with the functions of another role. let everybody know what they are responsible for so that you are able to hold people accountable. If it is everybody's responsibility, then it is nobody's responsibility. I repeat again, if it is everybody's responsibility, then it is nobody's responsibility. You have to get to the point where you are able to give clarity of role to every member of your team so that when the ball drops, you know who you are going to. You can't have a team of 10 people and nobody has role clarity, and then when the ball drops, you are blaming all 10 of them. No. When the ball drops, you are able to say, Ayodele, this task or this project was assigned to you. Femi, this task or this project was assigned to you. That is role clarity and accountability. Organizations invest in performance management systems. Okay, bring in consultants. Your HR might not know it all. Bring in consultants. You might not know it all. Reach out to consultants. Okay. Recently, I've reached out to a consultant myself. I need to revamp the 360 performance management system of my firm. We're expanding into something bigger. I reached out to a professional consultant. He's a senior colleague in the industry. I said, look, I'll need your help with this. We're in conversations. Reach out to consultants. Invest in performance management systems. Talk to people who can guide you. Understand that performance management is not garbage in, garbage out. It's not something you just pick from one organization and implement in your organization. You have to tailor it to suit your own organization's need and objective. And lastly, employee engagement motivation. Like I said, employee engagement is not TGIF. It's not pizza and Coke. It's not video game or PS5. It is how engaged are your employees at work? Do they have things to do? Are they busy with work that stimulates their mind, that gets them creative? And then how do you motivate your employees? A simple well done on a simple task. It could be a task as much as sending a report to a client, and then they give you that update. Dear Bright, I have sent or dear Mr. Bright, as the case may be that your firm operates, I have sent the reports to clients, da. Do you just ignore the mail that, oh, okay, they give me information? No, a simple well done, a simple thank you. These are literally two things. At the end of the year, what do you do for high performance? What do you do to people that have met their targets? Now, if people constantly meet their targets and there are no rewards to motivate them, then you are not challenging those that are not meeting their targets. Every year, there is a battle for Employee of the Year in your organization because every year I'm always raising the price. We are always raising the price for Employee of the Year. Every year. So there is a battle for it every year. In my organization right now, everybody wants to be Employee of the Year because they know that what is going to contribute at the end of the year and for that this thing is more than double your salary at times. So how are you motivating people? As a leader, everything is not even money. What are the things you say to them? How are you encouraging them? Are your staff coming to you and they're asking for a day or two off to attend to some personal matters and you are being toxic about it? Work out, rest, No, it's discouraging, it's demoralizing. When they make mistakes, how do you correct them? Do you go full guns blazing and you blast them, or you are able to constructively criticize their work, ensuring that their morale and their mental health is not damaged? When people are misaligned, when people are mismanaged, performance will suffer regardless of how good your strategy is. When people are mismanaged, when people are not treated fairly, when people are not motivated, when people are not engaged, no matter how much strategy you have, your performance will suffer because ultimately humans are the most critical driver of any organization's performance. Am I still being followed? You can just do a thumbs up so that I know that people are still following me. Okay, so moving on, we have leadership as a performance catalyst. Leadership as a performance catalyst. So there are certain leadership quality that directly influences different aspects of an organization. I mean, employee engagement, productivity level, decision-making speed, change adoption, and organizational culture. As a leader, are you a do as I say, don't do as I do leader, or you are a do as I do leader? You need to understand that you need to mirror your expectations of your employees or your downlines as a leader. You need to mirror it. If you're the type that wants people to come to work early, or you're the type that comes late to work, there's a problem. You are the type that wants job to be submitted on time, or you are the last to submit your task. There's a problem. You are the type that wants high productivity level, but yours is low. There's a problem. You are the type that wants people to accept change. Okay, everybody, we are not going to send Microsoft Word documents in this company again. All documents must be converted to PDF before sending out. Fine. You're the one that will send people a query. We have agreed that this. However, when you are sending documents to people, you're still using Microsoft Word. So how are you able to tell other people that they should convert their documents to PDF? Change adoption. Okay, leadership, decision-making speed. You're the one who should be able to, as a leader, you're thinking on your feet. Your downlines are running to you for solutions. Sometimes they hit a brick wall. They're looking up to you. Are you the type who just shrugs them away without a solution to their problem, or you're the type who finds a way to engage them and find a creative way to solve the problem? Organizational culture. Look, we can sit here and talk about organizational culture from morning till night. Well, I always tell people culture starts from the top and trickles down to the bottom. The way, when you see an organization's culture, look at the leaders of the organization. When you see an organization's culture, just look at the leaders. Or if you don't know an organization's culture, just look at the leaders and their personal characters. You will see. Excuse me. My firm has a very strong culture for employee welfare. And when you see my partners, very empathetic, very caring to a fault, very nice personalities. You get it? And that has transcended into the kind of culture that we have. We have a fantastic culture for employee welfare, like very, very fantastic. I'll give you an example. A staff lost his mom and dad within the space of a month. Very tragic incident. This employee was on 4 months compassionate leave and receiving full salary. Yes, we just told him, go and take care of yourself. When you're ready to come back, come back. And we never deducted a penny from the person's salary. 4 months. I mean, what does the organization owe you at that leave? 1 week compassionate leave. Let's say, okay, you lose both parents, 2 weeks. Let's say we stretch 1 month. 4 months. Literally, when this person sent an email to me that they are ready to resume, my senior partner responded to the email asking the person if he is sure he wants to resume. Okay, you can see how, now tell me, if this guy that we did this for becomes a leader tomorrow, tell me how that kind of character will not flow down from him to his downline. If you are the type that shouts at your downline, how do you expect them not to shout at their own downline? So are you seeing how everything transcends? Now let's relate it to performance, okay? You are lackadaisical at your own job as a leader. How do you expect to correct your downline to improve their own job? Okay, it boils down to everything. How are you as a leader moving in the organization, because you are a mirror of what you expect your people to do? Organizations with strong leadership capability outperform those without it. Performance improves when leaders are equipped to lead people, manage people, and deliver results. Lead people, manage people, and deliver results. Once leaders have the capability or the capacity to do these 3 things, organizational performance will definitely improve. Now, culture, performance, and alignment. Culture shapes how we get work done. Like I said the previous time, we can talk about culture from now to tomorrow. A performance-driven culture is characterized by a few things. Clear expectations. We've talked about this. You need to set clear expectations, clear goals, role clarity. Do not become ambiguous. Like I said, if it's everybody's business, then it's nobody's business. Ownership and accountability. When people have clear rules and expectations, they take ownership of these things and they are held accountable for it. Open communication. You should have a subtle open door policy where your downlines are free to walk up to you, to talk to you and share their concerns, be it work related or personal. I work in a law firm that has 3 senior advocates of Nigeria. I can literally open the door of any one of them at any given time. And that's not because I'm a senior staff. Even the lead NYSC associates can do the same thing. Can walk up to anybody's office. Sir, I have this challenge, work related, I have this challenge, personal, have a conversation. So let it be that opening communication, continuous improvement. How are you helping your people to continuously improve? Are you even recognizing it? Some people are improving in their job, but they can't even see it. You are the one that is seeing it. Are you mentioning it to them? Are you encouraging them? Are you praising them for this to say, well done, your communication skills has improved, your research skills has improved, your writing skills has improved. This will spur them to even, study, relearn, and upskill better. And this will bring continuous improvement. Psychological safety. Do people feel safe working for you? Do they wake up every Monday or every work day and they go, oh, Jesus Christ, we have to go to this office again? Or they wake up every day feeling ready to go, like, yes, I'm going to work today and I'm going to deliver on my task. Culture either accelerates performance or quietly erodes it. If you're like me, who now works in an organization that has a fantastic culture, and you have come from one with a horrible culture, the difference is clear as daylight. It's clear as daylight. I used to work in organizations where every work day I'm like, Lord of Jesus, I have to go to work again today. And currently where I am, although I have hybrid work system, I go to the office every day because I wake up, I don't feel like there's pressure going to work. I know that it's something creative for me to do that day. It's something challenging for me to do that day. I am engaged. And when I deliver on these things, I am motivated, I am encouraged. When I have problems, I can walk up to anybody, there's open communication, and I am encouraged, and I'm not made to feel like, oh, you are not part of the family. So that's psychological safety. This young generation talk about mental health, mental health. Don't joke with it. Don't joke with it. Salary is not everything. I've seen people take pay cuts to leave an organization. Salaries and all those things, yes, they're nice, but it's not everything. Again, your culture will either accelerate the performance of your organization or quietly erode it. Mark Daniel, you have a question. I can see your hand. Please go ahead.
Hello everyone.
Yes.
Hello Ayo. Thank you for this presentation. Just a quick question on the expectations. So how do you manage these expectations effectively?
How do you manage your expectations effectively? Are you talking about what systems to put in place or rewards?
So you've talked about various aspects, psychological safety and continuous improvement, which understanding clear expectation as well. So for you to manage, because we're talking about if it's nobody's business, then it's if nobody's
it's everybody's business, it's
nobody's business. Referring to that phrase that you used. So just trying to continue from what you said, like how do you manage those expectations effectively if you're trying to ensure everyone is in clear focus?
Role clarity. If everybody knows what they are supposed to do, then you know who you are holding responsible for what. So every individual has their role, every individual has their KPI. I don't know if you're understanding me. Every individual has their role, every individual has their KPI. You are able to hold A accountable for actions A, B, C. You are able to hold G accountable for actions D, E, F, and so on and so forth. The first thing is role clarity. The second thing is setting clear and measurable goals. Okay, smart KPIs. Let me put it that way. Setting smart KPIs. Once there is role clarity and you set smart KPIs, you are able to measure these expectations of your employee. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so now let's look at operational efficiency and performance. Okay, operational efficiency and performance. I might be a bit faster now because we've taken so much time. So we're just enjoying the whole topic myself. Even the best talent struggle in inefficient systems. That's the truth. The best talent. If you put, how will I put it this way? If you put Lionel Messi in the worst footballing team in the world, he will struggle. Trust me, he will struggle. Lionel Messi is arguably one of the greatest footballers of all time. I know I might probably have some Messi fans here. I am a Ronaldo fan, so I believe Ronaldo is the GOAT, but let's not get into that. But Lionel Messi is arguably one of the greatest footballers of all time. And if you put him in certain teams, he will struggle. So no matter how good the talent is, no matter how good the person is, no matter how smart or how intelligent, If you put the person in a system that is not working, their performance will be weak because the surrounding environment around them is not good enough. I'll give you an example. A Ferrari is a fast car. However, the road is filled with potholes and bumps. How fast do you really think the Ferrari will go? Not very fast. Why? It is the right talent, but in the wrong environment. Okay, for a Ferrari to reach its highest speed, its peak speed, it needs a smooth road, smooth nylon-tarred road, not an untarred road or a rough road. Now, no matter how good the person is, no matter how brilliant the person is, all is, if the systems around them do not encourage them to perform well, they would not perform well. Redundant processes, you are still doing paper. Everything is paper. When people are moving to automated invoices, automated payment receipts, everything is digital, employee data is digital, interviews are virtual, and you are still doing paper. Ordinary information that you want to send to all staff, you still type it, memo on Word, take it to MD will sign physically, then you go to the notice board and paste it. Something that you could have done via email in 30 seconds. You have spent roughly 30 minutes between typing, printing, signing, and pasting on the notice board. A redundant process. Do away with it. Find a way to ensure you move from an analog system to a digital system. If your organization still operates a lot of analog system, move on from it. Role overlap and silos. What does silos mean? You're just going around in circles. You're going around in circles. I don't think I need to dwell so much on role overlap. What this simply means is there's no clarity of role. The job or the task is everybody's task. And like I said, if it's everybody's responsibility, it is nobody's responsibility. Each person has to get clarity for their role to do exactly what they're doing. Poor workflow design. Again, there's a problem where you cannot design the workflow. Okay, there's a project. We start from A to B to C to D. Now, it is a problem when we do not know that, okay, if we move on from A, we are moving to B. Somebody can do A and then jump and go and do D, and then jump back to B and go and do C. The workflow design is poor. Have it in a way that people know that this is the beginning of the task and this is the end of the task. I'll use recruitment for instance. You cannot jump from sourcing CVs straight to final stage recruitment with the managing partner. No. There are other stages that you have to follow, from sourcing the CVs to assessment tests to first level interviews with line managers, and then maybe final level interview with the head of the MD or whoever it is that takes that responsibility, depending on your companies. Lack of performance metrics, just like the question that McDaniel, if I remember your name, asked. Lack of performance metrics. How are you measuring people? What have you set? What's their KPIs? People have resumed 6 months, 1 year, they don't have KPI. They are just working. They are just working. They are just working. So when the person says, I am performing, how do you tell the person they are not performing? How? You tell somebody that you bring a salesperson in and you say you need to increase revenue. The person increases revenue from 1 million to 1.2 million. Then you say, oh, no, you're not performing. And the person says, but I have increased revenue. The person is right. The person has increased revenue because all you said was increased revenue. You did not make it specific. You did not say increased revenue by a certain number of percent. But if you had said increased revenue by 50% and the person moves revenue from 1 million to 1.2 million, the person knows that they are fall short because their target was supposed to be 1.5 million. So performance metrics, make them as clear as daylight. Operational efficiency ensures that people can perform at their best without unnecessary barriers. Ensure that you have a process that is on autopilot, if possible. People can work without unnecessary barriers, without unnecessary bottleneck. Your line managers can go on leave and hand over tasks to subordinates, and work will not suffer. People can even fall sick and work will not suffer because you have an efficient, documented. Let me emphasize on this. Your processes have to be documented, and the document was fine. Let's turn to documentation. You are still in the era where everything you type, you print, you put it inside physical file, you fold, you can put in file cabinet. What happens to, for those of us that use Microsoft Office, what happens to OneDrive, where everything is there? So from my house, I don't need to call Ezine because I need to access a document. All I need to do is sign into my account, open OneDrive, and the document is there. I don't need to disturb Bright where he is because the document is on Google Drive. Operational efficiency, there are technological tools that helps you to tackle this thing. 3-4 people can work on the same document without sitting together in the same place or having to send the document to one another and having to wait. So we have a document that is 5 pages. Disney has given us those 5 pages to work on, with each person having a topic on each 5 pages, rather than the person doing page 1 working and then finishing his own, then he will send it to Izini. Izini will say, okay, approve, then send the person to page 2. No, the 5 of us can literally open that document and we are working on our different pages of the document at the same time without affecting each other's work. We'll do it at the same time. And something that usually would have taken each person 1 hour each, which is 5 hours, will take us collectively maybe that 1 hour, and Izini does it and we are done. So you see that in a day, we can work on 3 of such documents rather than just 1. Operational efficiency, you need to think outside the box. You need to take advantage of your surroundings and the tools and the things that are around you that helps your job to improve. Measuring what matters. Measuring what matters. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Again, I cannot overemphasize this. High-performing organizations focus on clear KPIs that align to strategy. One thing is for you to set KPI. Another thing is for your KPI to be clear, to be smart. Another thing is it aligned to the strategy of the organization? If your KPI is not aligned to the strategy of the organization, you need to revisit it. Data-driven decision making. Are you just making decisions out of your head, or you are looking at the data? Are you saying to yourself, our competitors have embraced the use of a payroll software, and because of that, they've been able to increase their revenue or their client base by X, Y, Z%. Those of our competitors that have not embraced this use, they are struggling with this. That's data. And we are saying to your management, with this data, I think we need to embrace the use of the payroll software so that we can improve efficiency of delivery to our clients. Data, we are looking at the numbers. If 5 people did this and they got this, the other 2 that did not do it, they did not get it. It means that we should follow the line of the 5 people, or not follow the line of the 5 people, depending on what is good or what is bad. Transparent reporting. How are you reporting incidents? Do not hide any information, even when it is not good. You need to see it as an organization. Your end of year report or your end of month report or your end of quarter report doesn't always have to be good. Sometimes state the problem there. Let people see it. Let people speak about it so that you find the solution. Measurement turns effort into outcome. And that's the truth. Once you can measure, it means that what you have done, you can see the outcome. Once you can measure, it means that what you have done, you can see the outcome. You are able to push people to that effort becomes outcome because they know what is expected of them. Somebody that knows that he has to move 7 chairs from point A to point B because that's the metric. He knows that if he does 1 or 2, it is not enough. 1 or 2 is just an effort, but to turn that effort into outcome, he has to move the 7. How does he know that he has to move the 7? Because there's a measurement metric that has told him that he has to move 7. And that's why he's able to turn that effort into outcome. And then managing change in a performance-driven organization. Change is constant. We all say this. Change is the only thing that is constant in a man's life. Performance must be maintained through it. Organizations must, however, do the following things. Prepare leaders to manage change. One struggle we have in many organizations is our leaders are, please, can someone help me? Which generation comes before millennials? There's a generation that they say comes before millennials. I usually don't put all these things in my head, but the generation that comes before millennials, and a lot of our leaders are in that generation. And you see that generation, they are very unreceptive to change. No. You will struggle to get them to. A good example are our parents or our grandparents. You see that way that our mothers and our fathers are used to making their food or their cloth or whatever it is. Even when you show them an easier and faster route, they will tell you no. For instance, I recently discovered I cook a lot. I love to cook. It's one of the things I enjoy doing. I recently discovered a hack in making moi moi because when I want to make moi moi, I don't use the bean flour. I don't like it. I feel it's not fresh enough. So I usually wake up, the old method, soak it inside water, wash with my hand to peel, separate the shaft from the bean, and then blend and all that. And then I discovered a hack that you can actually pour all your bean soaked inside water for a while, pour them into your blender, put plenty water, and just, roll that blade twice or three times, and all the shaft comes out. Wonderful, right? I tried it and it works. Go and tell that to your grandmother in the village and see if they will listen to you. They will tell you, laziness. That's not how it's done. It will not remove all the dirt. It will not remove all the dirt. And baby bloom, no, Gen X. Baby bloomers and Gen X. Thank you, Bright. It will not remove all the dirt. That's not how our mothers taught us and all that. But of course, it's a new method. So, you need to be receptive to change. And as an organization, how are you teaching your leaders to be receptive to change? How are you teaching them to manage change? How are you teaching them to handle change? You need to communicate clearly and consistently when it comes to change management. For there to be a wholesome embrace of the change, you need to communicate clearly. You can't just wake up one day and just say, we are all migrating from Microsoft to Zoho. No, you need to let people know, we are in the process of migration from Microsoft to Zoho. We encourage everybody to do X, Y, Z. Over time, you send another email and give an update. The Zoho, this will be implemented in so weeks. I hope everyone has saved their documents in X, Y, Z. I hope everyone has cleared their folders and all that. You don't just wake up on a Monday and the first email everybody sees is, we are all migrated from Microsoft to Zoho. Plus, your Microsoft email will no longer be active. Tiny your Zoho network. It's a problem. It will be chaotic. So, in order to make people accept change, managing change in a performance-driven organization, you need to communicate clearly and consistently. You need to address resistance proactively. Like I said, people naturally are not receptive to change. People naturally do not want to do things away from the way they are used to doing it. So you need to be able to address this resistance proactively. You need to find a way to make them see the benefits to not just themselves, but also to the organization when we accept these changes. You need to also support your employees through transition. It is very important. Change is a difficult thing. Transition is a difficult thing. A lot of people will struggle. Funny enough, even you that you are the process owner, you may be struggling, but you need to find a way to be able to support people through these transitions. You need to understand that a lot of mistakes will be made, balls will be dropped. How you handle these ball droppings and these mistakes would help them throughout that process. It's not every mistake that is made that should result to a query or a suspension or a punishment. Sometimes you just talk through it and understand that people are adapting to the changes that are being held, that is going on in the organization. So excuse me. Now, for top performing organizations, what do? They treat learning as strategic. We said it earlier in one of the previous slides that one of the things that top performing organizations do now is they invest in learning. And some of the things they prioritize is leadership development. I think we've talked about this. Leadership development, skill upskilling and reskilling, unlearn, relearn, and upskill, knowledge sharing. So we have a policy in my firm. Once you go for an external training, whether as an individual or as a team, that individual or the team must come back and do a knowledge sharing session to everyone in the firm on what you have learned. And irrespective of whether that training affects your work, you must attend that session because we believe that no knowledge is lost. It is important that everybody in an organization knows about the business and how the business operates. For instance, I can speak to some certain things that happen in some certain legal departments in my organization, not because I am a lawyer, but because I've attended some certain trainings, I've done interviews. It even helps me when I interview as HR. So when you're saying some certain things, I'm looking at you like, that question is wrong, or that answer is wrong. They're saying some certain things, and I'm like, this is a fantastic talent to have. Practical and applied learning. It is not okay that you send them on trainings and they've gotten the knowledge. How are you allowing them to apply that knowledge in their everyday work? Okay, so you send me on training on Microsoft Excel, and you've never, ever given me data to work with. Over time, I'll forget, and you don't get the ROI of that training. So send people on trainings that are relevant to the work that they do, and they will be able to apply those trainings in their learning. And send them on practical trainings. Not everything should be theoretical. Send them on trainings where they can do these things with their hands. There's this saying, I've forgotten the entire saying, but I know the last part of it. It is, allow them do it with their hands, or allow them do it themselves, and they will never forget it. It says, teach a man something and he will do this, show a man something and he will do this. I know the last part is allow a man do it with his hands or do it himself and he will never forget it. And it's the simple truth. Something you read and something you've practically done with your hand, they are two different things. When it's time to remember, you will remember the one that you did yourself faster and better than the one you read. Continuous learning strengthens adaptability. Your organization must embrace continuous learning. They must embrace continuous learning. You cannot but continue to learn. There are free resources out there to learn. Like I always tell YouTube is a university of its own. It's just that it doesn't give degrees. There are free training courses, there are free training programs that can help your team, that can help your leaders, that can help even you yourself in your organization. Continuous learning strengthens adaptability, confidence, and execution. And it's the truth. When you learn, it improves your adaptability, it makes you more flexible, it helps your confidence and your execution. I think there's a message here. Okay, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. That's another good one. Thank you very much, Bright. Thank you very much, Bright. I appreciate it. And good. Building sustainable, high-performing organizations. Now, the highlights of everything we've been talking about is how to build sustainable, high-performing organizations. I mean, that's the reason why we are gathered here. Now, sustainable performance is not achieved through short-term fixes. You need to first understand that it is not something that you just do today and in 2 weeks' time you've achieved it. No, it's achieved over time. High-performing organizations focus on some certain things. One of them is strong leadership pipeline. So there's a leader today, there's appropriate succession planning. Other people, we are looking at other people to say, if MD resigns today, who is going to be MD? It's a pipeline. Who is going to be assistant MD? Scalable systems and processes. I don't want to talk too much about systems and processes. I've said enough about this. Ensure that your systems and processes are flexible, they're scalable, they're things that are easily adaptable, and they are in tune with the now of work. Data-driven performance insights. Ensure that your decisions are data-driven. You're not making decisions off the top of your head. You're looking at what your competitor is saying. You're looking at what your market share analysis. You're looking at everything, data from everywhere, and you're making decisions. A culture of learning and accountability. You must ensure that your firm has a culture of learning, and you must ensure that your firm has a culture of accountability. People are held accountable for the rules that they perform because there's rule clarity. And then ongoing capacity development. Like I said, training has to be continuous. It has to be an everyday thing. It's not something you do and say, okay, in Q2 of 2026, we'll do training. For the rest of 2026, Q1, Q3, Q4, no training. Also training Q2, that's all. Anybody that's not get training done in Q2 till 2027, no. Training has to be something that is ongoing. Sustainability ensures performance is maintained even as the business environment continues to evolve. And I'd like to say something before I round up. As business owners, as HR professionals, or whatever role you occupy, you need to understand that you have a role to play in ensuring that your organization sustains his or her sustains their high performance. You have a role to play. Check yourself, understand your teams. I need you to go back with something today because I want to assume everyone is an HR professional. I need you to go back with something to say today and say to yourself, how is my organization performing? How are we performing? What can I do to help the organization perform better than we currently are performing? What change can I make in my organization that would improve our performance? Because truth is, we all want organizations with fantastic bonuses. Oh, they do bonus sharing, they do income. An organization can only pay when they have money. And if you do not help your organization to churn out high performance and high performance, M-A-N-C, high performance, M-E-R-S, then how would they get the needed revenue that transcends into profits, that transcends into these benefits they are looking for? I hope I have been able, in my little way, to show us how, as individuals, as HR professionals, we can transcend individual performance into organization performance by helping to improve our individual performances, which ultimately will improve the organization's performance. Thank you very much to everyone.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much, Ayodele. That has been very, very, very detailed. Thank you for being very, very detailed, for the breakdown. Thank you for taking us on the several processes. And, it was really insightful. Before we wrap up, we would like to take some question and answers, just a few questions. So, we can treat 2 or 3 questions and wrap up the session. So do you anyone that has questions can either unmute your mic and ask your questions, or you can drop it in the message area.
Hello, Mr. Ayodele.
Yes,
Good
please.
evening. Thank you very much for this insightful topic. So my question is, at what point does empathy in management start to dilute performance standard?
Sorry. At what point does empathy dilute performance standard? Okay, so when you understand that a business is a business. So before I answer you, let me ask you, are you an HR professional?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good. Now, let me answer the question openly then. You need to understand that there's a limit to which you can be empathetic. You need to look at the business. When you are a business first person, then you understand that sometimes when you're too empathetic, it means that you do not give people consequences for their actions or inactions, and then that starts to affect your performance. People need to be held accountable for the things that they do or they have not done. Okay, so you need to ask yourself, how far can we go with this empathy or care or emotional intelligence that we are showing as an organization, or I am showing as a leader? One of the things I have said to myself, so that's a question that affects me directly, funny enough, this year is I want to be a bit more fair with my downlines. So I have a situation where I'm a very chill person. I give my downlines work. Sometimes they're able to do it. I end up doing it by myself. And I just, they're busy. They have their lives to live. But I've got to the point where I said, I am not helping them. Why? Because they would not improve. Okay? They will not improve because constantly when I ask them to do something, they don't do it, I go into do it. So you're saying to yourself, how long do you want to go on with this? Because when you keep showing that empathy because you don't want to be seen as the wicked or the toxic boss, something happens. One, you're not helping that person improve. How you helping that person improve? You're not helping them identify what they have done wrong or what they are not doing right. Okay, sometimes you need to wield the big stick, and ultimately, if you keep a poor performer in an organization, ultimately it's going to affect your business performance, and that is going to be catastrophic. Do you want to keep somebody to the point where that bad decision or that indecision that they make would affect the company in a very catastrophic way, or you want to nip it in the bud? So at that point in time, you need to say, enough is enough. Every day, there's really no specific yardstick to it. There are certain things that this person or this person would have done over time, and it get to a point where you know, enough is enough. At this stage, if I'm calling it quits or I'm pulling the stick, nobody's really going to hold me responsible. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Clarence.
Thank you very much for that. That was a very, 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 very clear answer. Please, do we have any other questions?
Hello, Mr. Ayodele. Good
Hi,
evening.
Abdurrahman.
Thank you so much for a very well insightful session. I actually have a question. Through your presentation, you talk about the role of increasing organizational performance, but I've been curious to what role innovation actually plays in increasing organizational performance.
Innovation is change.
Okay.
In the part of the question, you saw where I said embrace change, adapt. There's a part of the whole slide that talked about adapting to the newness of now. So innovation is the newness of now. Technological systems are coming in that's helping your job to be easier and faster. How are you embracing it? Or how are you as an individual being the one to share it to your company that, These documents that we are always struggling with, that when Abdurrahman goes home, he always has to call Claret, and he has to wait until Claret gets to the point where she can open her laptop or charge her laptop before she can send that document. I discovered that if we create a simple company Google account and we save all these documents on Google Drive, I do not need to wait for Claret to get home and open her laptop to send me the document if I access the document. Innovation. I don't know if you understand me, Abdurrahman. You have shared a system to management, and management would most likely approve because you have made them see the advantage of having that system. Innovation. You look at one of the tools you use and you just play around it one day and you see something that will be useful to the firm and you spring it up. Innovation. One of the things, very simple trick, I taught somebody in my previous place of work was calendar invites. Usually they will just send the interview invite and ask so. And I said, no, send the calendar invite. What calendar invite does is automatically, depending on how you set it most times, 15, 30 minutes to the interview, it reminds you, I'm sure every one of us has used calendar invites. Somebody said, or even streamline workflow using AI tools. Exactly. Okay, so innovation comes in the place of change, when you're embracing change and adapting to the newness of now, to the work system of now. Because if you do not, as a company, you become redundant and you left behind. I hope I'm able to answer your question, Mr. Abdurrahman.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll just take one more question before we wrap up today. We have one more question. Okay. I guess we don't have any other questions for now. So we would be wrapping up the session now. So we would like to say a big thank you to Ayodele for a great session and for the active participation. It's been a rewarding learning experience for all of us here. And I also want to appreciate our participants for joining today. We hope this webinar was valuable to you. And remember, Brickhills Consulting, we are here. We offer you great learning trainings, British accredited training. And we have we're going to be uploading this session on our YouTube channel. So maybe by tomorrow, the whole session will be on the channel. So you can always check back and go through this session if you missed any part of it. So for future webinars, stay tuned. We'll be sharing information on our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course on our website as well. We still offer flexible courses, both online and in person, for your organization and for your individual trainings as well. So we would like to say thank you for joining us today, and don't forget to join us next month for next month's webinar. So Ayodele, do you have any closing remarks?
My closing remark would be the change that you want to see. It is not enough for you to say people should change, your organization should change, your downlines, your uplines, and whatever not should change. Be the change that you want to see. Okay, let's all be the change that we want to see, and ultimately you discover that people will tend to adjust and adapt to that change because you are a direct reflection of the change that you want to see. And I want to thank Brickhill for having me. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you to everyone for participating. I really appreciate it. And God bless.
Thank you very much. All right, till next month. Yeah, bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Bye.